I started my hospitality career as way back as what I can think. Started cooking with my grandmother, still had an old wood fire kitchen stove. From there, I started as a dishwasher. From dishwasher, I moved to bar. From bar, I moved to waiter. From waiter, I moved to kitchen. So I had very basic inlet before I finished school. When I finished school, I was fortunate enough to be able to study at an institution. I then studied normal chefing, did a diploma in normal chefing, followed by pastry, followed by chocolatiering. So I've got quite a vast study behind me. I then went to go work for Frank Dongeru in Cape Town. He was one of the top 5 at the time in South Africa. I was with him for 4 or 5 years. I ran various departments inside his establishments. I then left hospitality for a little bit, went to go and explore something else, because I always believe you never know enough in life. And as Mo will be able to tell you, you can give me any problem, I can probably solve it. I did mechanics. I then went back to hospitality because the hospitality bug kept biting back. I then did catering, large-scale catering, planning, pre-planning. When I'm saying large-scale, I'm talking 20, 30,000 people, fine dining events.
Thank you. Thank you very much, because you're going to share those as we speak further. More? Thank you.
As Mr. Tladi said, my name, everyone knows me as Mo, but my full name is Mongezi Plank. Grew up in the Free State, very shy and introvert. But went out to study. I did A class computer technician, because as we all know, computers cannot talk back. They can't fight back. So it's easier dealing with them than human. That's just the mentality I had. Came down to Grahamstown, started in retail, and went from retail. I was very lucky to be called in 2009. Started working at a place called Headquarters. It's just opposite Red and Power. Started there as your normal general worker. Used to do anything and everything that's been thrown at me. I was lucky in a year's time, I was being asked to be a floor manager. I don't know what they saw, but I was like, I don't like dealing with people. Why are these guys putting me in such a position? But then enjoyed it. I enjoyed interacting with people. I enjoyed my love grew for the industry. And to 2014, until I went on to guest houses. So in guest houses, stayed there but didn't enjoy it, because guest houses, you're more of a background instead of a front. Then came back into Frasers, worked for Frasers, and I must say, be ready. If you're going into hospitality, you better be ready to give yourself up and give your time and everything in order to make it. But now I'm here where I am now.
Thank you, Mo. Thank you. Thank you. I just want to let you know, and thank you for bringing Mo with, to make sure that you understand that the hospitality industry is diverse. I like everybody. Did you hear what everybody said? He said he started where? Washing dishes. Right? He said he started where? At the bottom as well. Remember, do you notice? So you can't just say, after this training, I must be a manager now. I need to tell everybody what to do. But we're going to have to, thank you, Mo. Thank you. We're going to have a conversation with Julian, and I'm going to be asking him questions, and I want you to think of your questions. It's your time and everything, so I will start off. Thank you. All right, drum roll for them, please. Mr. Julian, I'm very excited you honored my lastminute.com truly hotelier attitude. You know, when a guy, you just say to him, because I went to see him 3 days ago, right?
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. Did you see? Yesterday, that you, because the hospitality industry is like that. But did he show up?
Yes, it is.
It's raining. Did he show up? Did he phone me and say, no, I'm not coming? Did you see what time he arrived? 15 minutes before. Do you notice? Okay, so those are the things that we talked about, right? Which I'm always late because I'm always getting my coffee. So, you know, sometimes when you get a coffee, there's a queue in front of you. So, unfortunately, that makes me late with 5 minutes or, you know, but I told them that. But that's what the real opportunity is. So, Julian, I want to talk about your journey now, running. What do you find interesting about the staff when they come there to you and say they know something?
So for me, the biggest staffing challenge I found in the Eastern Cape, obviously I've been Western Cape, I've been Gauteng. I grew up in the Eastern Cape, but I came back to the Eastern Cape. And the biggest problem I'm finding in the Eastern Cape is people come out of a training institute with the mentality of, I know better. That is what it is. Guys, come in there, I'm a trained barista, I know better than you. And my first question is, and the guys hate it, please change the element on a coffee machine. Please change the grinder's blades. You know better than me, do it. Show me you can do it. Because I understand further back than grinding a coffee, making a coffee. I understand how the grinder works, I understand what components are in the grinder. And that's why when I said I left hospitality, I left to grow knowledge in other industries. I went into mechanics and bit of building. I mean, I can plumb, I can elect, I can. So where we at the guest house tonight and all of a sudden there's an electrical problem, it is Grahamstown, there's no electrician available. At least I know how to help myself to a point. I can't rewire your house, but if the light fitting's broken, I know how to rewire the light fitting.
Did you hear that? So it's not longer about, he's a chef, trained chef, but he looked at it and said, I need to empower myself to do more. And that's why I was telling you that you must be flexible. You must be able to do more things. And listen how he said, he can do fine dining, he can do all these things, but he had to get more knowledge. You understand? Hence it's important, you cannot just be Hotel X, who says, you saw the voice goes down as we talk, asking more questions. You understand? So, and then listen to what he says again. He says, and those are nuggets. He says, I didn't say, no, I'm a chef only. This is what I deal. I only deal with the food look, the color of the food or anything, you know. So tell us about, and did you hear what he said? The problem is the attitude of people. Because people think that just because there's a paper behind your name, you know how to change an element. And I don't even know how to change the element myself. You know, I've been in the game, but it's not my specialty, you know, and I usually, you know, so, but it's good that he knows. Now, let's go back to the cooking, the fine dining events when you're cooking. What did you find interesting about guest expectations?
So with the catering, there was never a one-on-one with back office and front. So you'd have your front teams running the floor, serving, making sure everything's up to scratch in the front, and you'd only get feedback at the back end from them. Where the position I'm in now, if there's a problem on the floor, I get to go in and actually understand the customer's experience, because I might like chicken and you don't like chicken. To understand that from a customer's perspective is, I mean, money can't buy that for you. To be able to deal with your customer as much as produce your customer's food. There was a point in Grahamstown where we had a very big staff shortage, and I was literally going to the table, taking the order, going to the kitchen, cooking the order and carrying it back out to the table. But every one of those clients appreciated it because they could see that something was being tried to keep them happy. And I mean, that's a big game change for me, is being able to have both sides of it. I mean, when you're working with massive corporates, you don't know who you're cooking for.
So, to hear what he said he got an opportunity to be very close to the guest. And he had to learn the ability to be able to source and get the information right, and go and put it in and cook it and make it right. And then he gave it to the guest, and the guest gave him positive feedback, right? But he didn't say no. You hear this shortage of staff. I can tell you, one of the reasons they didn't show up for shift, or they were drunk. I like how did you see how they grinned? Because now the question of this morning was, do we come in when it's raining? But he's here, and I want to answer that. That's why he saw more already, almost want to run. And the worst part is when it's payday. The day after payday.
Payday weekend.
Payday weekend, you know? Because people, they get too excited about money. And this is the funny thing. In this business, people can make a lot of money. But when they get that money, they want to destroy the thing that gives them the money. You understand what I mean? So can you share to us what impact it is when people don't come to work? More you can get into, you know, you can
so,
as well.
I mean, it's very, especially with us, it's very vast. We've got guest houses, we've got a restaurant, we've got a coffee shop. Because South Africa is where we are at the moment, you can't just employ 40 people when you only need 4 people. So you employ your 4 to be able to keep your business sustained. I mean, our whole business is pretty much Eskom independent. We don't need municipal electricity. But that's a cost that has to go out. So for that cost to go out, you've got to watch what you're putting out. We have a quiet month that affects our costs. So we run on what I call minimum staff 90% of the time. We know next weekend's a big weekend for us. We bring in extra people. But 90% of the time, we are on minimum staff. So the ripple effect that it has in the restaurant, the barman doesn't show up. Now your manager's got to be your barman. Your chef's got to be your barman. Somebody's got to jump into that position. And what I'm finding a lot is not my job, not my problem. What's the wrong attitude, especially around me? Not my job, not my problem. Do I pay you your salary? Not my job, not my problem. So don't expect your salary. Straight up, go home. Go sit at home. Don't be my problem. We, after a lot of struggling, seem to have got a bit more balance in our no-show payday weekends. It does happen on the odd occasion, but the guys have kind of realized it's serious. Few dismissals, and that's the reality. Is if you can't respect me, why should I respect your salary? I show up. I very seldom get off days. I show up on a Sunday, I show up on a Monday, I show up on a Tuesday, and I show up at 7 o'clock religiously. A little bit late for me is 5 minutes, not half an hour. There was a stage that I never had a vehicle. I used to walk to work. I live 7 kilometers away from work. He runs to work, but he knows he needs to show up. Be it, chef, I'm running 5 minutes late. Okay, I know he's coming. But there's nothing worse than going 10 o'clock. Where's my floor staff? Where's, no communication. So communication, especially where we are today, back in the old days, there wasn't landlines everywhere. Yeah. We've all got a cell phone. It takes you 5 seconds. Send me a please, call me. I'll phone you. If you're on my payroll, I'll phone you back. Communicate what the problem is. Because yes, there are days that you're sick, but if the problem's been communicated, we can make a plan. Now we get to 11 o'clock, Mo's still not at work. Mo's not answering his phone. Is Mo coming? Isn't Mo coming? Now I've got to start making plan Bs. And already it's 11 o'clock, service starts in 10 minutes time. So be it in the kitchen, be it in my pizza station, be it in my bar, be it in the dessert bar, one person can ruin your day. And what's worse is when we've all gone out buddy and we've all got drunk, because they know they come to work, they get to breathalyze, because that's our policy. Yeah, free breathalyzer every morning.
I wish I had my whole staff next day.
Reality.
Yeah.
It is, they know they're going to get, because your repercussions are bad. Unfortunately, it's a final written warning followed by a dismissal on a positive breathalyzer. So they rather stay away, as opposed to making a plan, picking up their phone, phoning a friend, can you cover my shift? I've got, at Fraser's and Barista, 37 staff under me. At the guest houses, I've got another 10. So there's enough diversity. Our guest house staff can work at Fraser's. Our Fraser's staff can assist at the guest houses. I've always trained people like that. Mo can work in the kitchen, Mo can work in the bar, Mo can work in the dessert bar, Mo can, so that when there is a problem, you can at least help. I'm a volunteer firefighter, I leave often. Mo, you need to get to work, I've got to go. Phone down and I'm out. He's got to be able to cover me, I've got to be able to cover him. He's got to run next week, he's got to go and enjoy his run. So it's a lot of give and a lot of take. The knowledge will go a million miles with you.
And now more to you, because he's referring to you a lot in this conversation. I think we got to get your opinion as well. How does it affect you then if someone doesn't show up and you are busy? And that time Julian is on a firefighting mission.
It's breaking, and it breaks one's ideal world of we want to deliver this service, we want to deliver this type of product to our customers. Because first things first, customers don't care what's happening in the back. They come there, they are wanting an experience, they want to get the top of the range. So, and the third part is, I can't go to a customer and say, oh, 5 of our staff didn't show up. Because they are there already. And Grahamstown has a very seldom mentality of table of 20 just shows up. We're here. We want a place, we want service, we want this. And it's the ripple effect that Julian has mentioned, that then it stops you from giving the type of service that you always hold yourself to. And not only that, remember, we run as a family. You're not only worried about the customer, you also worried what happened to this person that was meant to be here. Is he sick? Is he out there somewhere? So it's the effect that it has is more than just, no, I didn't show up to work, it's just one day. It's the customer's service that we need to give, then it's what the customer takes away from you. And I always say word of mouth is better than someone dropping a message on social media and saying, this. It's better when someone says, yo, I was at Fraser's and this is the type of service, yo, I'm happy with this, the food, everything. They can go and give out a 5-star, but I always say to the guys that we work with, I prefer seeing a customer again than having to post a message on social media. For me, that secures and that's telling me that I've done something good for them to come back. So it goes a long way. It goes a long way, and it means then if, like Julian says, if I had to go and watch my son play, I can't because there's someone who's not there. I have to come. If my life personally, it stops, then I have to just shift the focus, go dive in and just do what I'm better at, and it's delivering customer service. Making sure that the customer, as they walk out, they are happy, singing praises and coming back tomorrow. So it's like you only just not affected me work-wise, it's now going personal. And when you come in next day, you expect me to say, oh, well done, didn't show up last night.
They don't want discipline, eh? And I like how you pull it and say, then that tells us that there's always a job to be done, right? In this business we are in. From kitchen to barman to pizza station, to get that dough right, to get everything ready, the mess and plaza needs to be done. There's always work that needs to be done. And once someone is not there. But I want to ask you guys, do you see how you not showing up affects a lot of things that you didn't think about? And that's why it's so important before we even do other things. Showing up is part of it, right? Now I want to ask another one, Julian. Yeah? No? Yes?
Sorry, just to add on, and it's something that we said, just showing up. And we seem to have a problem with our, I don't want to say the youth, but the working class nowadays.
Yeah.
They think since I've shown up, I deserve a salary. I was there, clocked in, 8 o'clock. You needed me, I'm here. And I can sit on my phone and the whole day pedal on my phone and send WhatsApps to a friend, take photos. That's not work. Showing up is your responsibility. We pay for the work and the time that you give into us. So when they say time is money, they don't mean show up and get money. You need to show up, you need to work, we need to make sure that we uphold the standard, and then you get a salary. We have guys who says, I've been here 8 years, I deserve to be a manager. If you showed me that you can't handle the responsibility, the day-to-day responsibility, a manager goes to think into, I said to one manager of mine, I send you to the warehouse, I give you the key, here's a car, go to the warehouse, get this and this and this and this. What do you do? He says, no, I go into the car, I start, then I go to the warehouse. I say, no, it's a completely different thing. I go into the car, I start thinking, if I'm gonna drive down to the four-way robots at the cathedral, they take 4 minutes to change. So that's 4 minutes of my time. So I need to turn around, avoid those robots. And by the time I go in, I'm already seeing, is it turning red, is it turning green, is it, what are the opportunities? So already, you're there. So your manager needs to think, how do I cut my time in delivering speed service? How do I make sure that I don't sacrifice the qualities, but make sure I deliver it in beyond expected times? So my showing up is not by breaking. You need to show up, you need to work, you need to come to me and say, oh, I've seen something that's wasting. Where can we? Then you're telling me that, you have the sense to actually not just show up, but show up, do your day-to-day, and go beyond the call of duty. That's then something that will say, okay, I need to look into investing in this person. How do I then make sure that I grow them to make sure that they stay with me forever?
So I hear you now. That Mo is saying to us, you have to be willing to go extra mile, right? And how does being extra mile help you when people are extra mile in your business? When people are not in a rush, or when people are there for you, how does it help you guys?
The thing with somebody going the extra mile, everybody seems to think, this is my job, this is what I need to do. But the guys that do put in the more hours, the more willingness, the finding savings, don't serve a 250 at a 200 gram, but we're wasting on this product. This product's not selling, we're throwing in the bin every week. Those people intend to grow with you. So since I joined in 2021, there's been so much growth in the business, in the way forward. The more growth we've got, the more opportunities there are. My next goal is to open another Fraser's in Port Alfred, another center opposite the Arch Center. Once we open a center, we start doing hospitality there, we start doing guest houses there, because they all tie in together. So our guest houses, as is mentioned a few times, they're rated 4 stars, but we treat them like a 5-star. We're busy building the first 6-star guest house in South Africa, in Franschhoek.
Yeah.
So all of it is seen. They've taken of our people to go and run that. So that's an opportunity where somebody came in as a waiter and he just performed and performed and performed. I mean, he was performing every day. Has landed himself to run a 6-star guest house, the first one in South Africa. I wish it was my name, but they will never take me out of Grahamstown, unfortunately. Also, with us, your opportunities are so vast. I've moved people from my guest houses to Camp Fig Tree. That's another 5-star luxury tented camps. That's a full hotel. We've moved people from the restaurant. Literally, he was my maintenance assistant. The guy doing the gardens is now making beds at the Milner and serving food. So when you deliver, you will grow. I reached a point in my career where I was like, well, this is where I'm stuck. And it took a mindset change to be able to excel to the next level. Unfortunately, I was not lucky enough to study through Silwood. The Western Cape is flooded with Silwood students.
Yeah.
You could walk into a restaurant, I promise you'll find a Silwood student, and they all stick together. So I felt at one point, this is the end of my career. Positions come available, they bring somebody in, why am I not getting it? And I actually stepped back and I looked at myself and I went, but hang on, would you employ that person to do that job if he was just giving what's needed? And the answer was no. And so I grew. And once I changed my mindset, the growth happened literally in 6 months. I went from CDP to sous chef.
Yeah.
And that was starters CDP. So I ran starters pastry and grill in 6 months. I'd moved through all 3 of the sections and been able to become a sous chef. So all of a sudden you go from nothing to everything. And that kind of, people are watching you the whole time. That's the mentality to have. Somebody is watching. Sometimes you feel, I've cleaned this toilet 50 times already. Nobody cares about me. I'm just a cleaner. And the minute you get that mentality is when you're going to get stuck. You're going to get stuck in, I'm just a cleaner, and you're probably going to stay just a cleaner. It's to switch your mentality and go, and I'm not saying every hospitality industry is like this, but most of them are, because very seldom, unless it's a very small place, 3-4 bedrooms, they've got other establishments because it's the only way to make it feasible. I mean, in Grahamstown, we've got 3 guest houses, 2 and a flat, and then our business. And often I go up to the guest houses, I do performance review. My performance review isn't you lacking your personal hygiene. My performance review is I watch you. I'll sit, have a breakfast, make me a breakfast, cook what you want to cook me. I don't eat fish, I'm allergic to fish, but cook anything else for me. Hey, this is good, I can work with it. And knowledge is key. So often people will go, oh, he's moved me, but why has he moved me? I mean, our dessert bar is the most laziest place to be able to work under the sun. You scoop ice cream. And then I'll move them to the bar and they'll go, okay, but he's moved me, but what growth am I getting? Forgetting about the knowledge. I mean, our bar is complex. We've got quite a lot of cocktails.